Leckrone Initiate, The Wreckage of Stars. So sorry for not putting out any videos in like the last month or so or whatever. Obviously I've had school, so obviously I had to focus on that. And there just weren't like a lot of like releases that I was really into, so I kind of just took a break, I guess. Nothing really caught my interest within like the past month or so since Opeth released their new album. I think the last video I made was for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge when that was still like a big fad, if you know what I mean. But now it's October. I've put out no videos in September, although this album actually came out in September. Like, it's on September 30th, so I'm a bit late for this album as well, but whatever, better late than never. I might as well get to this one really quick. So yeah, I remember hearing about these guys, like during the Metal Alliance tour. They were opening up for Inquisition, 1349, Goat Whore, and Behemoth. So they were the first band that was up, and I remember having some positive things to say about this band and their live performance, of course, and the concert video that I made for that. So now I get to examine their work in the studio. This is their debut album. I know they released an EP last year, but never heard of them then. This is the first time that I've heard about them here in 2014. So let's just listen to how they do in the studio now, shall we? Admittedly, I've only listened to this album once, so this is kind of more of a general review, if you know what I mean. So sorry if I may not be as concrete as I would like to be, or as you would like for me to be. But I'll try to articulate it as much as I can. I mean, it's been already a long time since I've made a new video, so I figured I might as well just get something out there for you guys, and I'll just do the best I can with what I got. So sorry if I can't get into more concrete detail, but anyway, let's give it a shot. I dig the oriental sitar sound that is encased throughout A Great Mistake. It showcases some nice diversity for the song, and that's, I'm assuming, is indicative of the rest of the album. So yeah, it's a nice opener. It's more of like a traditionally prog death metal based sound for this song at least. While the next song, which is the second shortest song on the album, like next to the closer, which we'll get to in a bit, this song is called The Fractured One. It appears to be a bit more straightforward on the surface, but it's actually quite technical. It's it's a very death metal based sound with a lot of jazzy intricacies and improvisational instrumentals, if you catch my drift. In itself is still, it's quite complex, and just the song as a whole is quite reflective of the fact that this band employs a lot of varied styles in their arsenal. No one of these songs are really all alike, if you know what I mean. Each song is different. There's something for everybody, so if you like one thing, you'll like the other. I mean, I like everything on this album, but, there's just something for everybody to pick out and really claim to be something that's like, oh yeah, I like that. Adding on to that last point, the flow of this album is actually quite nice. Like, you never really feel bored while you're going through this entire experience. You kind of just sit back and just take the album as it is, because each song on here is actually quite solidly crafted, and you're able to just find something to enjoy in each song, so you never really feel bored through the overall whole of the experience. The production also sounds very crisp and refined. The drums are a bit in my face, or in my ears rather, mix-wise. Like, they're a bit high up in the mix compared to everything else, but you could still hear everything else just fine. It's just the drums are a little bit more higher relative to everything else. But, I mean, that's not really much of a complaint. It's just more of a small little nitpick. It still blends in very nicely with the rest of the other instrumentals and has many good qualities to offer in its own right. So, no complaints there. While the album is mostly dominated by heavy and technical instrumental passages, there are brief moments of beauty that are scattered throughout the album, really, such as this one acoustic and keyboard passage during the song Withering Waves, which I thought was quite nice. It sort of continues in a way, like even when everything becomes super heavy again, because you hear the main melody of the acoustic guitar in the background, even when everything's getting crazy once again. And you even hear it like at the end, like in the last 30 seconds of the song, it comes back in a nice way. It sounds very Opeth-like once you hear it. You'll recognize it if you know Opeth. It actually sounds like something that would have come off of Pale Communion, as a matter of fact, which is quite ironic because this is like, super extreme, like progressive death metal, whereas Opeth's now leaning into more of like a vintage 70s prog rock sound. So it's kind of ironic in a way, but what do I know? I think my personal favorite on the album may just be the title track, The Wrecking of Stars. It's pretty much divided into two halves for me, at least when I notice it. The first half has a calm, more peaceful sound. They use more like clean guitar passages with very swirling, spacey melodies. Um, the Wrecking of Stars, so duh, and very technical drum rolls, like later on. And the second half seems to be a lot more aggressive sounding. There's like a bit more of like a heavy breakdown going on with like screaming and clean vocals being played kind of side by side, or at least first come the screaming vocals, then come the more clean vocals, like immediately after that. So it's definitely a dynamic song that I really like. So yeah. I also really like the last song, Linear, as well. It's definitely a very interesting track. It's the shortest song on the album, but like something about it just seems very peculiar. It's got very like happy, positive sounding melodies, but is driven more with like blast beats and so forth, which is actually like when you think about it, it seems like an oxymoron, but when you listen to the song itself, it's actually quite lovely in its own way. It's like a very aggressive beauty, so to speak. Um, I don't really know how to explain it quite, but if you listen to like by a song by Yes or something like that, and just added blast beats to it, you can kind of get what I'm talking about here. I was kind of thinking, like when you hear the last half of the song "Gates of Delirium" by Yes, I was thinking of the last movement called "Soon," and it kind of reminded me of that in a way. It kind of reminds me of Yes and Dream Theater, only with like heavy blast beats and so forth. But it's just very interesting for a song this short that I just have quite a bit to say about it, and like the the amount of which I have to say about it is pretty much more than half of the actual song length itself. So that's kind of interesting. I'm reading the amount of time in which this clip is going on. So yeah. I think I'm just going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Nice, solid record, I believe. Of course, I have songs I prefer over others, like the ones with more acoustic and clean passages especially. But as a whole, this is a nice, consistent effort that flows really well. And like I said before, there's something for everybody here. This is a nice, consistent package to enjoy for metalheads of all shades and stripes, from extreme to melodic, from melodic to extreme, and vice versa. Like, you know what I mean. Um, okay, I don't really have much else to say. That's just all I have to say. I definitely give Black Crown Initiative recommendation a thumbs up, and I'll be done here. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see ya.